1, 2, 3, and we are live in Puerto Vallarta, lunch break. There's a lot of stuff I would like to invite you to. For those who don't know me, I'm Selena. Hi, but most of you know me. But what I'm going to invite you to is a different conversation at lunch break, and I have two amazing, absolutely fabulous guests. I'm actually stealing from their time at the table with some other amazing friends. So we're going to do this very fast. I'm going to be sharp, ha ha ha, to the point, But let's see what we can create today that's going to invite the whole world to a different perspective on image. Are you ready? So let me give you a bit of a context. A few days ago I had a photo shoot. For those who know me, you know that I like pictures, I like beautiful pictures. Selfie lady here. But there's nothing that compares to a selfie when it comes to the eye of a photographer. I don't have one, I have two photographers in front of me, and I'm going to turn the camera, presenting you Andrea and Amanda from the house of Belluso, right?
For clarity, I am Andrea and this is Amanda, because a lot of people get it the other way around. I don't know how. So. Yeah.
Well, you can switch. It starts with an A, so we are just going for the A and B. Yeah. Exactly. How does it get any better than that? So thank you so much for having allowed this moment. I was like, thank you.
Thank you.
I was supposed to have a photo shoot with Amanda, and Amanda said, would you mind if Andrea was joining the photo shoot? And I was like, well, now do I have any other choice? And what did she know? And what did my body know? And there's one thing I would like to ask you, both of you. So, you're both photographers.
Yes.
You both play with people's images,
yes.
Right? When did you start? And how is it to work together? Because you're in the same area.
Yes.
So,
they're grinding some ice here, in case you wonder that buzzing sound is something else. It's not.
It's not your brain.
It's not my brain, or it could be.
They are making cocktails, amazing cocktails. Yes. So, we will ask them to stop. Cool.
There. Boom.
There.
So I started 42 years ago, actually, this year. And I've been doing it pretty much all my life, almost. And I mainly do commercial photography, and I was actually resisting taking portraits or private photo sessions of people until, 5 years ago?
Less even, 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago. I was in total resistance of it, and now I'm loving it so much, and it's giving me so much, and when I see changing people's lives with pictures, I get it that, why I made that choice.
I'm personally the happiest one that you made that switch and that choice.
I'm glad.
I've seen pictures taken by you, and I was wondering, wow, what's behind the camera? So let's go to Amanda. Amanda, when did you start and how did you start?
Well, not 42 years ago. I've always liked to take pictures. Like, it's always been a bit of a hobby, but definitely not professionally. And then since I met Andrea and I started learning more and more about photography and about light and all of that, then I got a little bit more interested. But it was actually just 2 months ago?
Yeah.
2 months ago that I started actually offering private photo sessions, portrait sessions.
So you're coming out!
Yes, I am.
I've been trying to push it for years, and
when it's time, it's time.
you get it when you get it, right? Yeah. And the great thing with having you taking pictures now, I'm also getting, that we do these private coaching sessions, both of us, in different ways, and I do them mainly for photographers.
You might have to speak a bit louder.
Okay, yes.
You're loud with the light. You will have to be loud with the voice as well.
So, doing the coachings that we do for photographers and other people, I'm really getting, how fast you actually jumped into it with things that I tell in classes to other photographers, and they still don't get it. But you got it within what? Not even half an hour. You were there. You were just like doing it. So it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
But I've seen you both working together. And what I noticed is you calling her babe, and she being so willing and so enthusiastic about being supportive of what you do and who you be. And this opens up such a space for receiving for the people in front of your camera, because God knows you have a big thing over there.
Yes.
And when we're
I got
speaking about...
distracted by this.
Ooh, now that's a Moscow mule or...
No, this is a mezcalita with guanabana.
Whatever that is, it looks amazing.
Maracuya.
Cheers, people.
Yes,
So now,
cheers.
speaking of big things,
Where is this going?
where is this going? You will be surprised.
Yeah.
It's that huge thing that you're holding into your hands.
Yes.
Very often.
And very
What are you
often.
talking about?
And
exactly?
you're playing with it. I don't know. You go where you want, but I'm speaking about your camera. That huge.
Okay, because I heard you
camera.
asking if I was playing with it or... Yeah, well, okay, yes, my camera.
Yeah. So during the photo shoot, I remember there was this particular moment when I looked at a picture you showed me and you said, okay, so look here. And I saw that picture and I said, now this is the picture that I judged the most. And you told me something. Can you repeat what you said
Yes.
back then?
So, for me, photography in general and pictures especially really are a very powerful tool. So, for instance, if you take a series of pictures and you have one that you judge the most, like the one that you saw, right? And you go like, oh God, I look terrible and it's bad and blah blah, all the judgments in the world. If you can of course, hold on to those judgments, and then what the pictures will create afterwards, because pictures are entities, they're made of light, they're made of photons, it's pure energy, so it's not just a picture, it's not just an image, it's a real entity, so go beyond the actual photography. But when you first of all ask for a photo session, you make an agreement with the entity of the pictures for them to contribute to your life, living and business.
Wow.
And when you accept that challenge, game, whatever you want to call it, invitation, thank you, then they are really there to contribute in every single way. And this judgment kind of removes all the possibilities, or a lot of the possibilities that are presented to you. And that is because judgment and gratitude can never coexist. So how can you be grateful for a picture that you don't like, where you don't like yourself, you don't like the actual picture or whatever it is? Well, without that picture, none of the other pictures that you most probably love would exist.
That.
So if you can actually look at it that way and say, oh wow, you look so interesting and not at all what I expected, but I'm so fucking grateful for you, and thank you for the gift of this session, thank you for the gift of your energy, thank you for your beauty. That is one that I would like to tell you. Thank you for your beauty to the picture that you judge the most. And
Wow.
then carry on looking at the others. But one word of warning, this only applies to pictures, it does not apply to your life.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. True.
Nothing else.
And then what I noticed myself is that there was such a huge shift from one fraction of a second to the other. When I heard you saying this, I might have heard a lot of tools from Access Consciousness and a lot of questions and a lot, we play with them.
Yeah.
But when you said it, like, pictures are actually entities who would like to contribute to your life if you engage with
Yes.
them. It was like, oh my God! And then afterwards, everything just shifted to a different... And you said something more. You said it was this thing when all of a sudden somebody reacted because we were close to a pool, and somebody reacted and my head just turned and you captured that image. I wouldn't have even thought that you were there when you... this is what I thought I could escape. Can you talk about these subtle shifts of energies that the camera captures and about your flesh? Because that's something that I've been talking to everybody
Absolutely.
about.
You want to talk about that? I got okay. Well, in Access we talk a lot about the 10-second increment of choice, and for me, yes, that works and it's great. But for me, it's even more than that. It's actually a fraction of an increment of choice, because the flash that I use when I'm traveling, one of the fast ones, does 30,000 flashes a second.
30,000.
30,000 bursts of light a second.
I'm trying
Your
to
eye
blink,
cannot
but-
perceive it. You cannot blink that fast.
Can't even comprehend that.
You cannot comprehend that. It's beyond thought. Now we have a flash in our studio that does 80,000 flashes a second. It's the fastest flash in the world, and it's amazing. And the fastest camera that we have,
And it's yours.
And it's ours, yes. And the fastest camera that we have does 11 frames a second, which is one of the fastest cameras on the market today. Now, so what we actually see in the captured images is maximum 11 frames per second. So 11 pictures per second. In other words, 11 increments of choice every second. And we see a change, we see a shift.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a camera that could be as fast as, let's talk about our fastest flash, the 80,000 flashes a second, then we could see even a fraction of the increments of choice that we actually have every second.
Wow.
So every second of your life, you actually have at least 80,000 possible choices.
80,000 energetical impulses to shift.
Yeah.
Yes. And you see that because the images in these flashes, in these images might look similar, but when you really look at them, the energy is so different from one to the other.
Totally. I'm in for this. And there is one thing, we take the order. Yeah. It was just to distract ourselves, but I'm not letting this go. I'm not letting this go.
Do not
It
listen
was-
to the distraction.
No, don't listen to the distraction. Actually, they are such a gift because they make me shift right now into how much are we slowing ourselves down with all kind of distractions, and how much are we slowing ourselves down for the camera to capture something.
And how much are we slowing ourselves down for anything?
Yeah.
Anything in our life.
It's so funny because every time that we talk about this, and every time for me as well when I'm shooting and I go fast, like it always makes me giggle, and it always makes the person in front of the camera like, oh my god, like that speed, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really truly exactly what you're saying. Like it makes us as humanoids, as people, excited because it actually is way more congruent with the speed that we actually are.
Yes.
But as you say, we've slowed ourselves down to be in this world, to fit in, for whatever reason. But what if that is actually more who we be? What if we actually could acknowledge that we have 80,000 choices every second?
At least.
At least.
That's what we know of today.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when you're saying this, I know I heard the story, I told the story, I told it I don't know how many times, but I still get these shivers on my back.
Yeah, because it's true.
It's true.
Like for you, it's true. Like that's a sign of, you know, that is actually congruent and true, and it matches you and your being and who you are.
Yeah, no, and you know, it's also what Dane says, you know, that if you smile or giggle or laugh, then it's actually you being you and you being congruent with who you be.
Yeah.
So that giggle that we all get when the flash starts really going, we shoot really fast, that is like, oh shit, yes, now
is
this
fun.
is it, this
Yeah.
is fun, this is me.
Yeah.
I finally, you know, can
And
create.
if we can acknowledge that we have that many choices every second, would we ever be able to get stuck in anything?
No.
Or could we just change like this and like, okay, I was pissed off 1/80,000th of a second. Okay, do I want to choose that again or not?
Oh, this is so beautiful.
And the great thing is that your mind doesn't even go in there because your mind cannot even figure out the 80,000th of
No,
a second.
it's impossible.
And even what Amanda said, that 1/80,000th you made an interesting choice or whatever, you don't even have the time to think, what will I choose in the next fraction of a second, because that fraction of a second is already gone.
Or to judge your choice, which
Exactly.
we're so good at usually.
It's gone, done.
So wait, no, don't wait, go for it. But this is one question I wanted to ask about. What about those people who keep stuck in a certain image in one picture that they took at some moment in time? What about those?
Well,
What would you tell them?
I would tell them, get a shoot with us and experience the 80,000th of a second, or if we're traveling, a 30,000th of a second at least, and see how you can actually possibly let go of that picture that was taken ages ago that is actually not relevant. Or ask the question, is this relevant to my life I'm living right now?
Because that's the other thing with the speed, is that you cannot make anything significant because it only lasts for a fraction of a second. But this as soon as we make anything significant, like an image that we have of ourselves, for example, from the past or whatever, then we slow everything down in order to keep that image stuck, and it doesn't move.
It does.
Yeah.
It brings me to another thing that, quantum physics has been really coming in with science in the last few years and being acknowledged by science and being legitimized by science, or whatever you want. But what quantum physics actually says is that nothing is solid.
Ouch.
Nothing is solid.
Yeah.
And if you look
No
at
molecule.
no molecules, if you look at this glass, which is kind of fragile in this reality, it's still kind of solid. But it actually isn't. It's just how we perceive the molecules that are actually slower. The molecules are slower in their movement compared to air, for instance. But there is no difference in the molecules, and there is no difference in the atoms. In the atoms there is, but in the photons, it's the same photons that are present in photography, in this glass, and everything that exists in the universe, including you and your body.
Wow.
So how solid are we trying to make everything in our lives, including our choices, including our bodies, that with this invitation from light and photography and the images and the speed of light, we could actually change in a fraction of a second. So whatever is keeping you stuck right now with you, your body, your being, your choices, interesting choices of the past, or whatever it is, maybe you could ponder upon this little chat and see if maybe in the next fraction of a second you're choosing something else.
I'm in awe and in gratitude for you, for both of you, and how universe brought us together. We ended up with me lying naked on a floor.
So grateful for that.
Amazing.
I'm actually amazed because I'm getting closer to my body, or in my body, or call it how you want it. But when you have people watching it, there's a totally different game. So you said something that really removed all judgment from my world. You were saying something, and I'm paraphrasing because this is what stays with me, that you're not seeing the body, you're seeing the being.
Yes.
And you asked me, when you look at you in your pictures, what do you like most, or what do you see, what strikes you the most? And I said, the 16-year-old girl's eyes. So can you say something about that? And we're going to end on this.
Yes.
Like, I know you're hungry, and I have to take a PCR test.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and it's not just when I'm looking at pictures, it's when I'm seeing people in front of me. Yes, I see the body, I see the being, I see the body, but I mainly see the being. I perceive an energy. When I see somebody as ugly, according to this reality, it's not actually the body, it's actually their interesting choices and their judgments, especially of themselves,
I'm sweating.
that make it ugly for me. And in a picture, when you don't like a picture, ask yourself how many judgments were around creating that picture.
Yeah. It's very often that we hear people say, I had my picture taken, but I don't love the pictures, blah, 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 but it was this really good photographer, blah, blah, blah. And like, well, I usually say, these questions that we ask before we have sex, that we talk about in Access, will it be fun, will it be easy, will they be grateful, will I learn something, all of
my
that.
God.
Ask it for this as well.
Yes.
If you're going to have a photo shoot, ask the same. Because you do not want a photographer taking pictures of you that have judgments in their world.
Ooh, oh my God. And now when you say this, it's like every photographer has his or her own take on the world.
Yeah.
Of course.
But then when they are willing to drop the judgment and just, be with what is, and not portray something that should be from the mind of the person they are taking the pictures of, it's where it's invitation to vulnerability, and really reconsider the points of view that create even your image outside the camera.
And when it comes to judgment, I talk a lot about this in my classes for photographers, and they, most of them still don't get it, because they show me pictures afterwards. Oh, did not use any judgment here, and I still see that there's something funky in the picture. So, and it's not just the judgment between you and the model. Oh, I'm not going to judge this model because she looks this way or he looks that way. It goes way beyond that. How many judgments does the photographer have of himself, of his family, of his cat, of his car, of his income, of his money, of his sex life, etc., etc., etc. And it really is this, is removing all judgment, removing all judgment. If you remove all judgment, you become the invitation for the people that you have in front of your camera as a photographer to also start letting go of their judgments, at least for the session. And that's when the beauty starts.
I would just add one thing. Once you're willing to let go of those judgments during the session, they no longer come back. You showed me the pictures afterwards and I was like, oh my God, is this me? And I even asked you if you used a filter for my skin. And you said, no, nothing, this is you. So why are we doing this interview? There's no why, it's just because it was this explosion in my world. But I would like so much to thank you both for this opening in the world and for this space of non-judgment that opened up in my world. And guys, I mean, if you're live somewhere in any classes, you can contact these two guys and get together and have your photo shoot. I mean, hello, how long are you going to wait for your life to totally shift and transform? You just take a picture and then you will know who you truly be.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your invitation. Thank you for your yumminess and you're willing to play.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch and I'll have my PCR test. So kisses and hugs everybody, and we are going to share this everywhere. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.